All right, everyone, welcome back to the Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and today we're going to talk about everything in delegation. So we have an awesome guest today. His name is Brant Thurgood. You might have heard of him before, but he's the brains behind Jill's office, and he's no ordinary entrepreneur. So he has a passion for grilling and a talent for business, and he's the driving force behind a call center revolutionizing the home service industry. But Brant's entrepreneurial spirit doesn't stop there. So, alongside with his wife, Autumn, they're the proud owner of a creamery. That's right, ice cream, where they combine their love for dairy with their knack for starting successful ventures. Brant serves as a co founder of The Collective, which is a collaborative hub for aspiring entrepreneurs to share ideas and support each other's endeavors. So, whether he's flipping burgers, crafting artisanal cheeses, or nurturing budding startups, Brant's zest for life and humor shine through in everything that he does. So, we're so excited to have Brant on today. Hello, Brant.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing?
Great. How about you?
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about the art of delegation and we're going to dive into that. But first, we want to learn a little bit about you, who you are. Tell us a little bit about Jill's office.
Yeah. So, Jill's office. So, we're a virtual receptionist. So, we answer phones, schedule appointments, basically help you with anything involving the phone to help you be successful, all in the home service industry.
That's awesome. So why, I think people would want to know, first of all, why did you decide to open a call center?
That's a great question. I started Jill's office because I remember I was driving down the road with my brother who does concrete for a living. And, I went to school for sales and his phone started to ring. And I'm like, you gonna get that, dude? And he's like, I'm busy. If they want work, if they want my business to leave a voicemail. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't make sense. Well,
Yeah,
like 3 weeks later, he's like starts complaining that he doesn't have a lot of work coming up. And I'm like,
right.
dude, if you would have answered the phone, then you would have had work. And so I just had this. I was working at a call center in the time, and I'm just like, bam, I have this idea, and I'm just like, hey, how do we create a call center that doesn't suck, that helps businesses be successful? So the idea of Jill's office was born.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's been a crazy ride because I've announced here in my previous video that I'm actually the director of HR at Jill's office. So I've got to experience a lot of that crazy ride. And
Yeah.
it's been 9 years now, which is fantastic and so crazy. So what have you found when it comes to talking to clients? Because you go to a lot of conventions also and you see clients face to face. Um, What do they seem to struggle with the most when it comes to delegation?
I mean, that's a great question. When it comes to delegation, I think they sometimes don't know where to start. They especially when they go to conferences and they go all these things, they go all these like classes. They learn all this material and they read all these books, but they're just like, do
Where do
I
I
hire
start?
admin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I, hire, someone to help with, the work? Do I hire a sales manager? And that's what's hard, right? Is just not knowing where to start.
Yeah.
Um, but the greatest thing about delegation is just starting, really, because you just think about what your greatest need is and you start there, because every person is going to be different. That's what's hard. You can't coach on saying every person needs to do this exact same thing, because again, every business is different. I'm more sales minded, so it's like, well, I wouldn't go out and hire a salesperson right off the bat. No, I go hire an operations person. So uh, again, just starting is the key.
Yeah. And then if you think about to the beginning of Jill's office and how it's kind of grown into what it is today, what are some of the milestones that you kind of encountered, I guess, that helped you to start delegating more things out?
Yeah. So I really just started taking a look at my time and just realizing where were my tasks being so spread thin, and how was I helping grow the company. At that time, we were spending a lot of time on, tech and terms of, meeting with we were having a company do a lot of our building our tech. So I felt like there's meetings with them all day long and other things, but I still needed to grow the business. So even though I was business minded, and I was sales minded, I actually hired a salesperson actually,
Hmm.
so then I could spend more time on developing the product out so it could be sold. And so, I that's what we did. We hired our first salesperson, as I focused on tech and growth and the behind the scenes. And then, after that, our next person I basically fired my wife from her other job in a nice way and brought her over, and to help run the company. And she's so very much process oriented, and she worked on all the processes and delegating out a lot of those.
Yeah. You mentioned firing the wife. I think that a lot of times in the home service industry, we've got couples together and one of the spouses ends up having to manage the phones,
Yeah.
which they very quickly get tired of. And so, how did it feel when you were hiring, say, when you started to delegate some really big tasks that you were used to doing? What kind of went through your mind, and what were some of the emotions and some of the feelings you had when you did that?
Yeah, really just first off, sense of relief, like the first couple days is like, oh man, I don't have to focus on that right now.
Hmm.
Then I realized how much more I could get done without having to focus on that one thing. And especially over time, as we've built out more and more positions and delegated more and more away. As I look at the company as a whole at Jill's office, having close to 150 employees is just like, man, I couldn't do 150 people's jobs.
Hmm.
And realizing, as you build and structure this and scaling it, how important delegation really comes to be. Because if you truthfully want to scale a business, delegation has to be a number one focus when you're actually planning to scale.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so tying that kind of back into Jill's office, which is essentially a receptionist service. So we answer phones, for clients, and we kind of delegate. Business owners can delegate that entire task out so that they don't have to worry about missing phone calls. And what are some of the obstacles that you see, I guess, hurdles that you see business owners approach when looking to hiring a service like Jill's office? What are some of the objections that they have? And I would call them illusions, because a lot of times as business owners, we get in our own way. What are some of those common objections that you see?
So, especially when it comes to Jill's office, like number one, oh man, this is going to cost me so much money. Number two, like, I'm not busy enough right now. I get a bunch of calls, but I can handle that.
Mhm.
And then number three, our next biggest objection is, well, I already have someone in my office who's handling most of that. Again, that those go from really like a one person in the truck to a bigger business, is because they already have someone in the office. But as we talk about some of those objections, it's just like, well, you know, what's the cost of you not answering the phone?
Right.
And how many jobs are you missing when you're not answering? And that kind of goes back into the second one is, well, I can handle those, and it's just like, well, number one, if you're on the phone and you're with a customer, I mean, this has happened to me. It's like, oh, excuse me. I'm gonna answer
Mhm.
this now. Obviously, for me and my company, I'm like, hey, I totally understand. Like, phones are important, but how does that make me feel, right?
Right.
And then secondly, like, if you do choose to put that customer first in front of you, what happens to that phone call? Um, and that's really such an important thing, you know, being present with the customer, and making more money, right? It's a truthfully, a lot of people look at us and they think, oh, this is an admin cost. Well, no, it's more of a marketing cost.
Mhm.
And then number three, uh, you know, admins, you not only do you have them do just answering the phones, you have them do 100 other things. So it's
Right.
just, hey, when they're not busy, let us be the backup.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we overcome some of those objections.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think that I have experienced a lot of business owners, like the illusions that we talked about, and I think a lot of people watching this would agree. Sometimes we get in our own way, and it's human nature to try to protect ourselves from various different things, but we're not necessarily thinking business minded, like you said. And with my cleaning company itself, I have a general manager and I have employees, but my general manager needs time off. Sometimes she is helping a client, like you said, and she can't, or she's in a client's home, she can't just pick up her phone and take a call. And we don't want that call to get missed, because we pay tons for marketing. Every single call is lost money. And so just being able to delegate every single task, because I obviously can't answer phones all day long either. And I know where I'm strongest at also. That's another thing I think people don't really think of, is the tasks that you're doing and not willing to delegate. Are you the strongest in those areas? Or are you just holding on so tight out of fear? without really realizing how much bigger your company can grow by delegating it out to somebody or another company that specializes in that area.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I think I've seen business owners thrive the most, is where they've learned to pass off a ton of different tasks to people that are so much better at it. And then they can focus mainly on growth and being a real visionary in their company. And so I think that's amazing. Brant, do you have anything you want to share with everybody? Anything new coming up that you want to share before we hop off?
You know, where there's a lot of new things coming up in this world, especially in the world of Jill's office, that we're excited to share. Some great technologies, some great integrations that we're going to be focusing on. But 2024 is going to be a great year. And I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for the grind. I'm really excited for the changes coming up. So, stay tuned from the tune of Jill's office and all the new fun stuff coming up, and just grateful for everyone listening and hearing about Jill's office.
Awesome. Thanks for being on, Brant. We hope to see you on here again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode at The Collective. You can learn more at collectivestrong.com. Please check the notes in the description. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications. Until next time.